Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all having a great day today wherever you are. And for today's video we're gonna be finishing this folio journal. We're gonna create the outside cover today on which we can glue down the folios and we can tie in the journal. And then off camera I will be doing some last minute decorations and I'm gonna fill it up with all sorts of goodies because then I will film the flip through and it will also go on sale on my new Paperuri Shop on Instagram. I will link the page down below if you have not seen it just yet. I occasionally sell some things that I've collected or also my journals, so I decided to open a new Instagram page for that. So yeah, just check it out if you want. It's down in the description, but for now we're gonna focus on finishing this one. So without further ado, let's just get started. I'm gonna need one piece of cardboard for the outside spine, and then I've grabbed two pieces of cardboard that's a little bit thicker, and that's going to be for the cover. And I've got two pieces, and I've tested it out first on my sewing machine to see if I could sew through this, because it's a bit thinner than this book cover was, and I was not able to sew through this book cover, but this worked just about right, so that's good. And then you're gonna need a bit more of the tape because we need to cover the edges of the cardboard. And of course you're gonna need more of the fabric that you used for this spine to use on the other spine as well. And then I want to do a collage like I did on the example. I want to do a collage of the papers that we've used on the front and on the back, for the cover, I guess. And that's about it really. So without further ado, let's get going. First we need to know how big we need this to be. So what I like to do is I like to put everything together and then make sure that the journal is not like this, because there's a lot of room, but like open it up so that it has room to grow, and then you measure this bit to see how big it needs to be. So what I like to do is I like to put it on its side and then carefully measure this. And I cannot give you any measurements because maybe yours is fatter than mine is, so please use your own measurements. I'm gonna do 8. Wait. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do 8 and a bit. 8 and 2 millimeters or something. So this is my spine piece. This is 8.5, so we need to make this a bit shorter, but we also gonna need to measure the height. So let's just grab, I think, yeah, the folios are a bit taller than the book is, at least this one is. So I'm gonna have to measure this one. This is the tallest one. And then the book is gonna be 7.5 high in centimeters, or was that in inches? Oh, that was inches, yeah. Okay, so this way. Yeah, mine is gonna be 19.5 high. So I'm gonna take this piece, and I said it was 8.5, but we need 8. So yeah, I need to lose about 2 millimeters or something. So I'm just gonna take off this bit. Okay, so like a small border, and then I need to measure out 19. And I'm gonna do that again here. Okay, and then I'm gonna cut off this, and I'm gonna cut off that. All right, I'm back. I took another piece of cardboard because I measured wrong. I needed it to be a 0.5 centimeter longer. longer. Anyway, as you can see, it is okay, but the okay, how do I explain? So we're gonna tie in the journal, right? And then we're gonna use strings, and then this is the piece that's going to be glued on top of the string so that the inside looks nice. So for the outside, we're gonna need another piece, but that needs to be slightly bigger again. So let's say, I don't know, 1/2 centimeter or something. Yeah, so I'm gonna cut another piece of this. All right, so I've got my 2 pieces, and I don't know if you can see it on camera, but it's actually like only 1 millimeter on both sides. I don't think that's even 1/8, but it's just a tiny bit of a difference. So these are the 2 bits we need for the spine, and then we're gonna measure how big we need the cover to be. Then I'll take this. I think, yeah, it's all the same size as the book, so we can just measure with the book. And then I'm just gonna grab the back of the spine, line it up, and then I want it a bit bigger than the book is, so about here. And the height, I also want it a big, so I'm not gonna line it up with this, I'm just gonna line it up a few millimeters that way, and then I'm gonna mark here, there. Then I'm gonna line it up with my glass mat, if that works. I'm gonna measure this as well, just to be sure, so that I know how big it is. 13 and 4 millimeters. So we can actually get another one from this piece. Excuse my head, but I need to measure 13.5. Okay. Where's the mark? Oh, there it is. Okay. So these 2 will be the covers, and then of course we need to take off that strip, and I'm just gonna measure. That's 1 centimeter that we need to take off. So I'm just gonna put a line. Right, okay, so now I'm gonna cut this with a ruler and a knife, because my trimmer will not like this. So I'm just gonna carefully, I think I'm gonna begin with taking off this shorter side. All right, I'm back. I've got my pieces cut. They're a little bit crooked, but that's okay, we can fix that. And then I've cut 2 pieces of offcuts, just plain white paper or misprints or whatever, because I want to build the collages on top of these, and then I can sew all the bits, and then I can glue it on top and then sew around one more time, because I don't want to put my sewing machine through sewing all the squares and such as well through this big cardboard, this thick cardboard I mean. So yeah, I decided to do it this way. I did write the numbers of the paper that correlates with which piece, because they are not 100% the same, right? So that way I know which panel goes to which piece. And then, oh, before we start that, I do want to start by covering all the edges with the tape already. So that's what I'm gonna do. Let's see, is this big enough? Yeah, so I'm just gonna tape it and then fold it round and then cut off the excess. All right, so all the edges are now covered, which is nice. Now I want to start working on the collages of these pages. I have a lot of, let me grab them, a lot of offcuts here. Oh, and some strippies. The strips I will probably not use. I also have a bunch of bigger scraps here on the sides, and that is what I will be using for the cover mainly. I could also do it like this, but I think it's nicer when you have some patches, I guess. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. I am gonna speed up this bit though, because I don't think we need to do this real time. So yeah, I'm gonna speed it up and then I'll sew everything and then I'll be back. All right, I'm back now. I have cut them a little bit shorter so that we see a bit of the tape as a border. I thought that would look nice. I want to ink around everything now before I start sewing. And I also picked out some labels that I made with Tim Holtz label stamps and die cuts. And these are not on the paper from the collection, but these are made on Tim Holtz papers. So I thought they will fit this nicely. So let me just ink. I really love how it looks already. And with the sewing, it's only gonna look better. And this is also a nice way to use up as much of your scraps as possible. Okay, so now I need to decide which one I want to be the top of the front, I mean. And because we are gonna add a label, I have to decide which one. I think this one looks really nice, but I think it's too small. I actually quite like this one. Yeah. Yeah, and if we do it here, the 3 is gonna get covered. The 3 is really distracting from the label, so I think this should be the back one. But now I just need to decide whether I like the smaller. I think I like the bigger label, to be honest. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm gonna put it right there. So I'm just gonna ink these edges as well. Okay. And then I'm gonna stitch around. Oh, come on. Come on. It's clogged. All right. Okay, so let me glue that in place. Right there. So yeah, I'm gonna sew these panels now. First, I'm gonna sew the individual squares. Oh, maybe I should not glue this on yet. You know what? I'm gonna glue this on later. I'm gonna sew everything first because I'm gonna sew all the straight lines. And then afterwards I can sew this on and then sew around. That makes it easier for me to sew. And then once I've sewn all the panels, all these squares, then I'm gonna glue it on top of the panels and sew around the edges one more time. And after I'm done, I'll be back. All right, the covers are now all sewn. I really love how it turned out, and the label from the Tim Holtz backdrops really does fit, I think, as well. I did ink a bit on the back stitching, just like this, because a bit of white will show up. And now we're gonna work on the spine. So I got my 2 spine pieces. I actually made new ones because I realized, these are the old ones, they were a bit shorter than the actual covers. So I remeasured it now, and now they are the same size. And then obviously, like I said, one of the other is smaller, so keep the smaller part to the side. And then I also cut a piece of heavy paper on which we're gonna attach this piece. But we need this because we are gonna if we put the covers like this, we're gonna use these bits to glue it on the book, if that makes it, on the covers, right? So what we're gonna do is I'm actually gonna glue on this piece. We're gonna stitch everything as well, so eventually it will all be stuck down. But you can use double-sided tape as well if you don't want to do any stitching. I don't use double-sided tape because I know I'm going to be stitching, and if I use my double-sided tape, my sewing machine will hate me. So that's why I try to do as much as I can with just glue. All right, so that's that. And then we're gonna have to fold this a bit. So what I'm actually gonna do is I'm just gonna grab my scoreboard. That's a bit easier. And I'm just gonna score next to the spine pieces. And that way this will fold better. And this is gonna be the spine. Or actually it's gonna go like this. Yeah. Oh. All right, so this is what's going on the outside, and this is what's going on the inside. And then it's important that the other piece fits in there with a bit of extra, because we're gonna fold over the leather. And when you fold it over, it needs to be inside the creases, otherwise you will not be able to close your journal properly, if that makes sense. But for now we're just gonna work on this bit. So we are gonna cover this with leather, and I'm just gonna glue this on here, and I'm gonna leave a bit of a border so that we can, you know, put it around it like this. And for that I want to use some Collal bookbinders glue. I hope I can open the jars. Okay, that works. Okay, so I'm just gonna grab a bit of glue. This stuff is really sticky. It really is good stuff for gluing on fabric and such. I think I want to cut off a bit more of this edge actually. We want as little bulk as we can get, right? So okay, and then I'm gonna snip off the corners. Okay, there's probably a way better way to do this, but this is how I do it. I'm not a real book maker or book binder, or so I struggle a bit with these things sometimes. All right, so yeah, I'm just gonna take my time doing this because it always takes a bit of time for the leather to stick to the paper. So when I'm done, I'll be back. All right, I got the two pieces done, and now all we need to do is cover up this middle bit here, because that's what you're gonna see. So I'm just gonna put some alcohol tape on there again. Where's my scissors? Here. And then I'm just gonna cut it off until, yeah, about, well, let's cut it straight. About there. It sort of blends in so you don't really see it. You could also, you know what, let's do it like this. Let's just cut it almost until you can't see it anymore. If I can manage. Oh. So about there is good. And then it's gonna be covered up like this, and then it's gonna be like this. So you don't really see a lot of it, right? So that's good enough. And then we're gonna do the other side. And I want to use the blue thread because that's what we've been using throughout this entire journal. So I'm just gonna, oh, I hate this so much. It also always goes, I don't know how to say it. It always becomes such a mess when you have multiple types of cords on a card like this. Okay, like that. So I'm just gonna grab some of the blue. I think maybe a bit longer. Okay, so this is the middle. I'm just gonna hold it like that quickly and then put some tape like that. And then of course I'm gonna put tape here as well. Like so, and then there. Okay. And then I want to test if I will be able to tie the journal in like this. So I'm gonna find the middle, and then I want to see, is this long enough to actually tie in the journal? And I think it is. Yeah, it is. All right, so that's good. I do want just some tiny knots on the ends of the threads so that they don't start fraying. So I'm just gonna try to get the knot as close to the end of the thread as I can get it. All right, so now this is done. And then we can attach this to here. And we need to make sure we attach it in the middle, right? And for this, I will use double-sided tape, but only in the middle part because I do want to sew as well. So I'm just gonna grab a little bit and then I'll put it until here tops so that I will not sew over the double-sided tape, but this way I'm sure that it will be stuck really well because yeah, we're gonna be taking the journal in and out, so you really want to make sure this is sturdy. Okay. Like that. Okay. Already looks really neat. So I am gonna sew here and I'm gonna sew here, but I also want to sew this whole panel, and that way this panel will also be sewn. All right, it's now sewn together. It looks really nice. Now, unfortunately, I will not be able to sew these together because that will be too thick and my sewing machine will not like me. So if I will use my double-sided tape to do that. So I'm just gonna make sure that you put it behind the crease here. You could also even use some bookbinder's glue again, but this should work as well. Oh. Okay. Okay, so now the tape is on. I am gonna tie a knot in here just so that I don't get the threads in places that we don't want it. Okay. That did not work. Wait. Okay, that's better, a bit better. All right, so I am gonna, so this is the front, so we need it like that. Oh, wait, I put tape on the wrong side. Oh, that's fine. We also have to glue the folio to this piece, but we need tape on the outside, of course. Okay, let's do that on the other side. Oh, let's wait on this side. Let's do one side first. Now I am gonna put a tiny bit of glue stick on there as well, so that I have a little bit more time, because otherwise I might glue it on the wrong side, wrong angle or whatever, you know. I don't want to mess up, so I am gonna, I think this is good actually. Yeah, okay, press it down like that. Let's see, so this is the front, so this is the back. Yeah, I think this is good. Press it down. And then we have the cover. Now, if you have a super good sewing machine, I would advise you to sew, even if it's just a few stitches, just sew a bit of the cover to the spine bit. Even if it's just, you know, 1, 2, 3 stitches, it's already enough. But for me, that's really not possible. My sewing machine will really hate me if I do that. So I'm not gonna do that, but it's attached now and I need to let this dry properly. And now I need to check, because this is the front cover. So we want this one to go there. Otherwise, we are gluing it upside down. And now I'm also gonna use the glue stick again. And I'm also gonna check if I need to push back some of the tape inward, so you don't really see it. Okay, and now I'm just gonna carefully lay it on. Yeah, it could go a little bit higher. Can we still? Yeah, I think this is okay. So now I'm gonna open the folio a bit so that I can really press it down. That's the first one attached. I really love it already. It looks so good. Oh, it is a bit crooked though. Oh, okay, wait. We need to make sure it's good on this side as well. Okay, this is better. Yeah, so this takes a little bit of time. And I checked these edges as well, that it's all lined up together. All right, and the folios are on the cover now. It looks so good. It really turned out great. I really love it. And now we need to see if the journal still fits in here. So I'm gonna find myself the middle. Yeah, here it is. And then I'm gonna tie it in. Hopefully the journal will close properly, and hopefully there will be still some room left to fill it up a bit more. So far so good. Yes, it's perfect. Yeah, see, there's still a bit more room for it to grow, which is great because I want to put in some Tim Holtz goodies and some real vintage ephemera as well. So yeah, that's it. This project has now come to an end. I really hope you enjoyed this series as much as I did. And yeah, if you have been crafting along with me and you're finished as well, don't forget to tag me on your socials because I really would love to see yours. This one is also going up for sale. I will put up a flip through on Thursday, and in that flip through you will also see the final end result, right? Because I might add some decorations here and there. I'm gonna put in some vintage stuff. I'm gonna put in some Tim Holtz goodies, things that can be used when using this journal, I guess. So I'm gonna fill it up a bit more, and then yeah, Thursday will be the flip through of that. It will be listed on my new Instagram page, which is called Paperuri_shop. I will link it down below. But that's the place where I'm gonna be listing my journals or sometimes vintage goodies, because sometimes I collect too much and then I just need to de-stash a tiny bit, you know, things like that. So I don't sell things that often, but I thought it'd be better to create a new page for it so it don't get lost in my normal posts. So that's why I did that. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed it. I want to thank you all for watching. I want to wish you a nice day wherever you are, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.